Alright guys, how you doing? I wasn't sure if we was going to get a chance to film anything today. As you saw previously, there were guys in here banging their Kangos around, radios blaring and stuff. Yeah, and there was a lot of stuff unfinished when I got here, so I had to muck in and help them do a bit of boarding and just get things ready. And that's why I kind of tackled the ceiling. We got the ceilings out of the way, whilst they carried on doing a few bits and pieces, getting this boarded up, blah, 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 blah. Just taking some loose off. He's disappeared, but he needs to come back and put a door frame in here so I can get this floated in. He's got me bonding, which is okay, you can use bonding. Let's have a good look at these walls. So what I've done already, and I haven't shown you, is I have put SBR all over everything. Yes, people, I switched up my PVA and I actually used SBR in this situation. And I've whacked it in its neat form. I'll tell you what, it's a product, it's a brand, sorry. And see, look, plaster stuck to it really well. Dunlop, I've never seen them. Where's my tub? It's around here somewhere. I've got some, there it is. Now, this is neat SBR in here. I really don't want it to dry out, actually. I didn't put it out here, I kept it in there. But see, look, it's quite thick, to be honest with you. Very often SBR is really, really watery, but I noticed that straight away, that with that brand, that was quite thick and a little bit easier to control. That's one of the things that I'm not too keen about with SBR, where it's so thin, you know, it's easily drips around all over the place. But in here, you can see we're in a building site, so it doesn't really matter. Right, so let's have a look at the issues we've got with these walls. This is the kitchen, and it all needs sorting right out. The builder is here with me, obviously not right at this second, but he's telling me bits and pieces. I don't know the design of the kitchen, but I guess other than those doors in there, we don't have to come all the way down to the floor in here because there's units going all the way around. But let's have a look at what we're faced with here. Now on this is what I believe is browning, and it's an undercoat, gypsum thistle undercoat that they don't make anymore, and as you can see it's incredibly soft. Look at it, I just rub it away with my fingers. This here, this backing coat, I think is bonding, so it's back in the day. So exceptionally high suction on these areas where the finish coat has failed, where they've taken the tiles off. Look, yeah, we're just patching it up. So because this surface here is unbelievably porous and dry, bone dry, I have smashed SBR in its neat state all over it. And that was first thing this morning, so the SBR hasn't really had proper time. You can see here, look, you can still see it's got that blue tinge to it where it hasn't dried out in some of the deeper areas. But I can feel that's much more stable already. It's one of those, how far do you go? I mean, if you can get it off of your hand, but I've gone around loosely and got the worst bits off. So we need to start considering what we're going to do to these walls. And like I say, he has got us bonding. So we're just going to get a tight coat of bonding and start sorting this out. Ha! There's no point hiding around the corner, I can see her.
After his final match of the day this weekend, he's apologised for a post which had been criticised as being anti-Semitic. Grace has started putting sandwiches and drinks behind the contract with some stores.
It's a sad day when you can't even have Greg's food and now
He's shoplifting at Greg's. It is Tuesday morning and we are back in this job, which is in Guildford, just into Guildford. This guy does get me some good ones, I've got to admit. So yesterday we started bonding out all this. Look, we've got a lot of bitty work. I did point out yesterday this was over really soft browning, but we SBR'd it, and the SBR has really got it in there and stabilised it. I normally use PDAs, but in this case, yeah, SBR is what I've used, and the builder got me a big tub of it, so I've been using it neat. So first things first is really just to carry on with this bonding, get everything ready for setting. Firm light walls. This has all been SBR'd. I SBR'd everything. So he's put this door on. I don't mind the frame down in, but he's put the door on, so I'll probably have to pop that off because we've got to get a rule on it. Bonding it's good for things like this over here, patching up these sort of bits and pieces. But if you need to do something like take a rule to it, it's not the nicest stuff to be ruling off with your straight edge or something like that. It's just so sticky. It's hard wall's probably a better option for that, but it's just got bonding and that's what we'll have to work with. It's not that big an issue. Just a bit of word of advice for bonding is you need to really keep your water clean in between sets. If you keep knocking up a bag or whatever, you need to knock back up in there. It's very sensitive to dirty water, which will speed it up at the second time, and if you want to be playing around a bit and rolling things off, sometimes that's not the best thing to happen. Hard wall might be a better option because it's designed to be played around with and rolled off. It's designed to go on high suction stuff. So yeah, it just is what it is. So yeah, let's just get on with this bonding, I think, and then we should be able to get some setting stuff on. We did the ceilings yesterday, as you can see. I haven't cleaned that bead off, I know, I'll pop it off in a minute. But we can see, because we're open up here, all the airflow and the higher temperatures we're experiencing at the moment has really started to dry this ceiling out already. So, a lot quieter in here today than it was yesterday, with those boys smashing their kangos around, pulling up the floor and whatever. It was very noisy at a couple of points yesterday. Right, let's crack on, shall we? My stapler broken, I need a new stapler. Check this out, right? If you have never floated before, let's fit a couple of little bits for the DIY guy in here. So this is the undercoat. It is a little bit wet. Excuse me, I've still got the sniffles from going camping the other day. Now, a newcomer quite often will go this way and try to go really quite slowly. Okay? The ideal way for me, and it's a bit of an older way to do it, is to work towards what you've already done. So if I'm right-handed, okay, so I'm going to come this way. You can see I've already filled this off a little bit. Now, I'm using a smaller trowel, I tend to use a 20, but when you load this up, you do need to have a bit of confidence about you. You need to be able to bang it on the wall, okay? Don't want to be doing this stuff and just hanging it on really gingerly. You need a real good grab. So it's a good slap and a little push. Because you work into what you've already done, tend to not drop quite so much because you're not thinning out to nothing, and it's quite a lot easier, I find, to regulate your depth with your trowel and get it kind of like in the right position with your trowel, rather than going this way and then it's thick and then you're thinning out and it's easier. A lot of people, plasterers, don't like it, but it is generally the way to do it. So we see on this frame that it's so deep, this patch is really going to eat this material up. let's have a look where we are at now. Now, if you are a beginner, this is probably an easier thing for you to take on because we've got a hard edge here, this is our existing edge, and maybe we've got the door frame in, so all we need really is a feather edge, like this, a rule. And of course, we just need to span that because, you know, we've got these two things to create our glides for us. And we are miles away. Crikey. We've got enough forward. So that's a few mil here, but right here in the middle, crikey, we've still got loads to make up. Which is fine. We're getting so deep on there already. Shame with the trowel in there. Look how deep that is. It's that deep. That's where the finger comes to. So let's leave that alone. There's no point in putting too much weight on that. So it's touching here, it's still bowling right back. Not too far away here, so we might as well carry on and start filling this other stuff in. And I need to knock up some more plaster. That's how it's like 2 bags, 2.5 bags on it. Yeah, I've just been over and given it another coat, so let's see how close we got it this time. Yeah, it's got a lot better. Right, I'm still missing here in the middle. I'll have to do some editing. See that it's not quite got it there, but because I've got a little bit on my rule, I can close that in, put that back on. Yeah, it's just there. Okay, we're a bit loaded up now. Let's take that off. To fill that little area out a little bit. But yeah, looking a lot better. Okay guys, just so you know, this is a devil float. It's called a devil float, I think, because you put little horns on it. It's quite old, like you can see, so we've got these screws in there so you can adjust them, twist them around. It's a hard plastic float. Let me just show you. I've already been using it and I forgot. They probably might want to see this bit. So it's a hard plastic diamond one. These are a little bit easier to use than the old foam ones. When I was beginning plastering, I always used to struggle with deviling up. The trick is really to get enough water on there. This is quite a big one, you can get these in varying sizes. Get enough water on there. Got to hold the float flat. Okay, and then all we're doing is pretty much, you know, this is where, you know, sponge floating for multi-finish comes in. Same sort of thing, we're just buffing out any nasty ripples, filling any little holes, and because of these little bits of screws in there, just nipping out, they're obviously giving it the key, putting these little scratches in there, so that when we put our top coat and multi-finish on, it's got something to hold on to, you know? So sponge floating with multi-finish, if you haven't seen that, I've gone on about it quite a lot. It's not something I do all the time, but it is a handy trick to have some of the time. And basically a sponge float does pretty much exactly the same thing to multi-finish, but without the screws in it. Okay, I've been messing around with all that, got that all in, and been messing around with some of this stuff over here. It really has been quite time consuming, to be honest with you. I need to get some multi-finish on because we really need to complete this tomorrow. So I don't want a really, really hard day. So I'm going to knock up some multi-finish, and I think we're going to take out this board work across here and through here. I'm going to knock up something like a couple of bags and see how far that gets me, I think. It's not that much in area, to be honest with you. This is just what I floated yesterday, and I didn't, because I did it at the end of the day, I didn't devil float that up like I did the other side. So I have given that a good scrape back with my plasterer's iron, and I've also doused the life out of it with some SBR. Yes, we are using SBR. I'd already SBR'd a lot of these painted surfaces yesterday, so I've just SBR'd this little bit here as well where there's dry bonding from yesterday. This was done today and it's not quite wet, dry yet. I'll SBR this later today probably. Okay, so it was about a bag and a half. I'm using a 20x5 carbon steel trowel like always, and I've knocked up even thicker than I normally do to start dealing, because these walls are like, oh, they're horrible. They're really thick, they're deep, they're all over the place, which is why I love that 20x5. Excuse me, it was a cough from the other weekend. A 20x5 carbon steel trowel really does come into play in situations like this when you're supposed to be getting things straight and flat, not just smooth. So I am going to fly around. I literally just put it on. It's about a bag and a half. I'm going to fly around straight away with this 20x5. Using it kind of like a rule, because the majority of the blade is straight. It only kicks up at this end, and at this end, this whole blade here is pretty straight, which is why I can use it as a rule. Some 20x5s and other trowels have a continuous curve all the way down it, and they are very difficult to get things straight with because of the curve is so extensive within the actual trowel. The second coat has just all gone on and it looks a lot neater than it did with the first coat. It's pulling in pretty quick, even with the SBR on this, although I think I might have gone over the SBR a little bit too soon. There's still quite a bit of suction on that floated wall. Everything else seems to be okay, but the temperature's up, and I think this is enough for me to handle at the moment in a comfortable manner anyway. I'll get back over this, start flattening it in, and probably start taking the tiny little bit of water to it with my wet brush. Let's have another little recap into what's going on here. This was all boardwork, and you can see that it's still quite wet and manipulable. Come across all the way here, so I come across all this and came down here, then I came onto here. So this is all boardwork as well. This was that SBR'd floating area. Now look, this is pulling in, this is going to the head of the queue. And then this was over tight bit of floating, but that SBR'd stuff, which is really hanging back, it was over painted surface which was SBR'd. So even though we went on in this manner, bang, 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 now this is number one, this area here is number two, and that third area there is one that's hanging the most, and that's now number 3 visit. So that's how we're gonna have to change the order, and I need to get back on this one right now. Okay, so we finished the day off using this flexible stainless steel between the two flexi trowel, and I haven't cleaned. I've been going into one cleaning this up. I've been soaking it. I'm going to soak it again tonight. It's had about 3 soaks this week, and it's cleaning up quite nicely actually. Hasn't had a clean for ages. Now I've gone into one on it. So today we got this all done. It's finished this off, and we're looking pretty good. Matey has not put a door lining in here, so we could only come up to the plasterboard. He's going to put one in afterwards. I'm quite happy, even though these walls are as undulated as they were, they've come out pretty good. I think one thing to note here, this ceiling yesterday went on pretty much the same time just before this one. Now look, this one's completely, I've been watching it, it's completely dry. Within 24 hours that's ready to paint. This one up here, you still see the obvious damp areas. And that's how it dries out. It doesn't all slowly fade away. It recedes in definite lines. So you can see a definite line of wet, definite line of dry. When it goes all back to that pink colour, that's when it's ready to paint. This is the colour it goes when it's starting to set, whereas I've got no dark points on it at the moment. There's a tiny little bit up there. You can see it's just starting to darken off a little bit and go this, like I say, dark colour. So what have we got left to do? This, I'm quite happy we've got a comfortable day tomorrow. I've got this nasty little bit round the side here, around there, onto here, this wall, and I believe this is going to be completely covered in units all the way. I think it's only the very, very top that might possibly be seen. But so with the rest of today, I'm gonna carve all these nasty bits of floating out and chop them out with a trowel, like you saw me doing earlier, and probably get some SBR over them, and then have a bit of a sweep up, get the door back on, blah 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 blah, get off out of here. Enjoy the rest of this very, very pleasant afternoon indeed. So there's a little experiment for us. Today we SBR'd this floating stuff. The floating stuff was done yesterday. Then we SBR'd it today, and it still pulled in quite a bit because I went on it so quickly after the SBR. So now this was done today, this floating was done today, and we've SBR'd it now. And now I am going to go home. So this is going to get overnight to cure. So one coat of neat SBR. Let's see how that behaves tomorrow when we turn up and it's had longer to go off. Morning guys, it's Wednesday morning and it's a little bit rainy this morning. I wasn't expecting that. Yeah, we're a little bit compromised on space. So let's sort this room out so we can get on with the plastering. Just a quick reminder of our quota today. This little bit, this face. Got that side yesterday, look, and we've got to come down to about this level all the way across here, and same kind of like here, but we'll come down to the floor here because there's a door. That wall doesn't need touching at all because there's units going all against it, apart from the very, very, very top. Probably doable in one hit. Oh, remember we're doing a bit of an experiment today, so this got SBR'd yesterday. This got SBR'd 2 days ago. I can feel it's really gritty, to be honest with you. I did have a little bit of grit in my tub. There's a nail down there, a screw, bang these in. So yeah, I have seen videos. It goes against my intuition, but going over pretty much dry SBR will be fine. But I can feel there's quite a bit of key to it from the grit in that SBR. Yeah. Okay, so we've just been round and flattened everything in, and I've put it all on with the same gauge. So over here, let's get you over in so you can see. Where it was kind of like bonded a little bit, it's pulled in. Over here on top where it was SBR'd paintwork, it's still very wet. This was on plasterboard, and it's not much different, pulled in a little bit more. This was on painted SBR and it's sticky. This is on painted SBR and it is very, very sticky. And then this, if we come over here, let's have a look what's going on, shall we? This was over that bonded area, okay? Now, look at these. The suction is still there, even though I put SBR, neat SBR. Look, we've got these little cracks here. They're little stress cracks where the moisture's being drawn out of the plaster far too quickly and it's causing it to contract and shrink too rapidly, and it's kind of pulling itself apart. But don't worry, these are pretty minor, and I'm very happy that the adhesion will not be compromised, but this is pulling in. Now, remember on this channel, I'm very rarely using SBR unless I need to, and we did in here, so I am kind of experimenting with it. So what did we do? We bonded it, and then we let that kind of set. We devil floated it up and everything, and then we put SBR, neat SBR, a good coat of the fluffy roller all over it before it dried out. So that's what happened, and yet the suction is still pretty substantial on that. I was expecting that to be killed off a lot more than it was. Maybe it was the time that I SBR'd it. If I'd waited till this morning for that bonding to sort of like pick up a little bit more and then SBR'd it, this morning and let that go, then maybe it would have killed a bit more suction. You guys that are a bit more experienced with the SBL, you let me know what you think about that in the comments. So, what I am glad about, to be honest with you, using that 20x5 carbon steel trowel and putting it on slowly and as neatly as I did, flattening in as I go, I'm really glad on that area. I did flatten that in as I go, because if I'd left that with loads of trowel marks all over it and then tried to turn back on it and found that that had been pulled right in, that would be a nightmare to sort back out. I'd be in jolly big trouble. As Dudley Moore and Peter Cook would say, jolly big trouble. So yeah, that's why in some cases it's well worth getting things under control as you go. That would be, that's literally gone. I'm not, it will lay down, but I need to keep an eye on that, I think. Okay, so we're in a bit of a pickle now, aren't we, because of that? Do you know what, I've got some PVA, I might run a little bit of light coat of PVA over that just to help that just on that pulled in area, so that when we do lay down, it goes down a little bit better. It's not ideal, but sopping wet, pulling in, stress cracking. It's what happens when you're going over different surfaces like that. I was expecting that SBR to have worked better. There we go, I have put a weak coat of PVA, although it's got a little bit of SBR mixed in with it as well, because that's just what happened. Weak coat over all that. It still looks quite white at the moment, and it's got SBR in it as well. This is in an effort to try and pull this back in line. And also, if there is any severe cracking, because it's so wet, PVA SBR mix will get behind into these cracks and restabilise them should there be adhesion issues. But yeah, it's not ideal at all. Pulled in quite nicely. See, it's still wet around the edges where we've come onto the wet plaster. Okay, so we're in a position now, everything's almost there. Look, we're stuck with the 20x5 carbon steel trowel by Marshalltown. You can see here where the lights come in, where it's caught some of the higher granules. Now we're going to switch to the Rafina Flex 2, which is over there on that bucket. This little area over here, which was giving us the trouble, it's still pulling in faster than everything else, but it's at a manageable rate now. I feel like it's under control and not stressing me out at all. It's well under control. Right, let's get on and we'll have another look, especially on this little bit here, and we'll have a look and see what the stainless steel Rafina Flex 2 does to the situation. Okie dokie then, let's have a little look where the light's coming in. Nice and parallel, so yeah, we can see, and the surface gets closed in. And if I run down my fingers down here, you'd notice at this stage in the life of the plaster, because of that sheen. But yeah, we're pretty much all done. Remember, there's all units going across here. That's why all the wires are exposed behind, so I know what sort of depth I need to come to. So yeah, we are pretty much all done. Just come across the top there, remember, units coming up. And everything's drying out exceptionally quickly in here. I never use a corner trowel. I always use my 20x5 carbon steel to get internals straight. And then afterwards I will run a little inch brush, half decent one, up the internals. It's a bit hard to see on these ones because you can see the moisture is being drawn up into the ceiling, which was previously completely dry, but now, you know, we've plastered up, look, it's soaked through into the ceiling. But we can see down here on this internal here, look, got quite a bit of discoloration coming through as it's set in, which is normally the case when you go over such a nasty surface as this with all sorts of bits and pieces going on it. But yeah, we're looking pretty good, same as usual. Let's get packed up, pack it up, pack it in, and we'll get out of there. Alright guys, thanks for watching all that. That was a lot of editing on that one again. I am getting into the editing and getting the music off of YouTube audio library. There's some really good stuff on there, to be honest with you. Some of the music's mine, like the acoustic guitar playing, and the rest I've just nicked it straight off the library. And yeah, we've gone for country and folk film. I've kind of been feeling that quite a lot recently, and yeah, I don't know, I've gotten quite into a montage these days with a little bit of artistic flair. I think it's I'm yeah, quite enjoying them. So what are we doing? I've been in Fleet today and I'm recording another little one. This one I'm going to get rendered now and then uploaded tonight. As long as everything goes well, it should be up in no time at all, a couple of hours or something. And then I might get another little video scheduled for Sunday. I'm away again this weekend, so it might be a little bit of space of time until the next one gets out, maybe the middle of next week or something like that. In the meantime, do have a look at the rest of the playlist. There's loads of stuff on there now, all of varying lengths. There's some really long ones, there's some medium ones, there's some short ones. A bit further down, the older stuff that we did was more tutorial stuff for beginners. I've kind of been neglecting you beginner guys a little bit again recently. I'm sure we'll have an opportunity to do one of those again soon, but if there is anything, any particular part of plastering you want to have a look at, I'm sure we've covered it by now, so have a look down the playlist, have a little search through there. And alternatively, if you want to, you can come over to Facebook. There's a group there called Plaster Master Smurf 74. It's doing really well. It's got almost 600 members on it now. It's a group you can post your own pictures, your own videos, ask advice, give advice, whatever you want. And like I say, that's on Facebook. If you did enjoy this video, please do like and subscribe. It really helps with the algorithm. It pushes the videos more, and you know, it's all good. Alright guys, take it easy, and I'll see you on the next video. It won't be long at all. Bye bye.